Thanks for clicking. My name is Mark Mitchell. I'm a mortgage broker here in London, Ontario. With the Canadian election just 1 week away and the polls tightening with the Liberals and the Conservative Party at a near statistical tie, I wanted to just briefly do a recap of where the three main parties stood on the main real estate issues facing Canadians. The race has turned out to be much tighter than I think Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thought it was going to be, as I think most commentators have agreed that the election was called in the first place to get a majority government. And most commentators now are predicting that while he will probably win, he'll be very lucky just to get a minority government. I know that real estate has been at the forefront of a lot of people's minds this election season, as Canada currently faces an affordability crisis. So what I want to do is just briefly go over where the three parties stand on the four main issues facing Canadians vis-a-vis the real estate market. Obviously, there are bigger issues facing Canadians with COVID, the lockdown, and the pending fourth wave. But real estate has still been at the forefront of a lot of Canadians' mind. So I want to briefly go over the four main issues facing Canadians vis-a-vis the real estate market and what are the positions held by the three main parties. So we'll go over the supply of housing in Canada, foreign ownership of real estate in Canada, issues facing home buyers, and issues facing homeowners. And then we'll end off with some brief conclusions. I will have another video out later this week, as there's supposed to be some key data related to the real estate market being released by CMHC on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have a video out for that. Click like and subscribe to get that update. But for now, let's just go over where the parties stand on these main issues. So first up, supply. The New Democratic Party, the NDP, plans on creating 500,000 more units. The Conservative Party wants to create 1 million more units, and the Liberal Party promises to create 1.4 more units. And as I mentioned in another videos, if you just write my name in, I'm going to build 1 billion more units. Wouldn't it be funny if that worked? Second, let's get into foreign ownership of real estate. Foreign buyers tax has been a big issue in the Canadian real estate sector over the past couple years, with the government imposing large-scale taxes on major cities like Toronto in order to help curb the demand for Canadian real estate by foreign buyers. There's not a whole lot of difference between the three major parties, with the biggest being the NDP, who wants to increase taxes on foreign ownership by 20%. And then the Liberals and the Conservatives both want to have a 2-year ban on foreign buyers from purchasing Canadian real estate. Third, and this is where the most expansive list of the differences comes into play, the Liberals has by far the most promises for home buyers. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do the most for home buyers, but they have the biggest list. Among those are the Home Buyers Bill of Rights, which promises, among other things, to ban by bidding and guarantee the right of a home inspection for home buyers. They also want to create some sort of savings account for home buyers, which combines kind of the TFSA and RRSP, so you can save up to $40,000 tax-free for the purchase of your first home. And they also want to revamp their first-time home buyer initiative, which was a plan of co-ownership where the government matches your 5%. What they want to do instead, or maybe even on top of that first-time home buyer initiative, is offer low interest or no interest home buyer loans, so you can get a loan for your down payment to be repayable later. It hasn't been announced what the lenders are going to think about this, and I think there will be problems with it, but that's what the Liberals want to do for home buyers. In contrast, the Conservatives don't have as many promises for home buyers. One main one that they want to do is allow you to have mortgage insurance for homes over $1 million. That's significant, as when you have homes under $1 million right now, you can get CMHC mortgage insurance, which allows you to put less than 20% down. As soon as that purchase price is over $1 million, you have to put at minimum 20% down payment. So that makes the down payment requirements for homes at $999,000 and homes at $1 million to be huge, major down payment differences. It doesn't matter so much for the smaller markets, but for the larger markets, it can make a big, big difference. So the Conservatives and Aaron O'Toole want to raise that amount that you can get mortgage insurance on. Second, for home buyers, the Conservative Party wants to end the stress test or revamp it for small business owners. With the stress test the way it is now, it's a little bit more difficult for those who are self-employed to get mortgages. So although they're not exactly very specific how they want to change that stress test, it is listed in their platform that they're going to make it a little bit easier for those who are self-employed. The NDP, for their part, definitely have much more an emphasis on home buyers than they do for homeowners. For home buyers, they want to double their home buyer's tax credit, and one of their biggest plans was to introduce 30-year insured mortgages for first-time home buyers. So right now, if you want to qualify for a home, you have to qualify based off the Bank of Canada rate. Right now is 5.25 on a 25-year amortization. If the NDP has its way, that will get upped to 30 years, which should help to increase your buying power. Most estimates are saying by about 10%. So right now, if you can afford a house of, say, $500,000, this would bump you up to $550,000 affordability. Now, this isn't a critique section, but it would also increase the buying power of everybody else, so just keep that in mind. Finally, there are some big differences for homeowners that the three parties are promising. The first one being for the Liberal Party, that they do want to guarantee that all the banks and mortgage lenders have to offer 6-month mortgage deferrals in the event of job loss or major life event. They haven't been specific on what the banks think about this yet, but I can tell you, and I've gone over this in another video, I don't think they'll be very happy about it, but that's a video for another time and for the future. And second, the Liberals also want to mandate that all your mortgage options are disclosed to you when you visit the bank. Which, I mean, obviously, yes, they already should be, but the Liberals want to write that into law. As for the Conservatives, and they do tend to focus much more on the homeowners and the rights of the homeowners already, they have two big promises that differ from the other two parties. The first one being is that they want to stress 7- and 10-year mortgages for existing homeowners. So that does help you sort of hedge against future inflation, future rate increases. Right now, the norm does tend to be to lock in for 5 years or take a 5-year variable term, but 5-year terms are definitely the norm, whereas the Conservatives want to put more stress on the banks to offer 7- and 10-year mortgages, which would allow the Canadians to have a little bit more stability on their interest rate. It'll probably also make the interest rate, the penalty for breaking that mortgage, a lot higher, but that's another discussion for another time. Finally, for home buyers, Conservatives want to end the stress test for mortgage renewals. So right now, when you go to renew your mortgage, your bank offers you a rate, and they might be very aware that you can't go elsewhere because you won't qualify with the new stress test. So they can offer you, say, a little bit higher rate than they normally would because they know your options are limited. The Conservatives want to end this and make sure that you don't have to qualify vis-a-vis the stress test if you want to switch your mortgage to somewhere else. The NDP probably focuses on existing homeowners the least amount. One thing that they have noted is that their 30-year mortgages will help make your mortgage payments a little bit easier to manage once you are able to buy that house. So it's easier to qualify with the NDP at that 30-year mortgage, but their idea is that your mortgage payments will be a little bit smaller as well. You'll also pay quite a bit more interest on the mortgage, but again, that's a discussion for another time, and I've already done a video on that. So, with 1 week left, these have been the 4 biggest differences between the NDP, the Conservative, and the Liberal Party. I try not to insert my own political views into the videos, so I'm definitely not going to start now. If you do like this video, please do click like and subscribe, and we'll have more videos out if there's any big announcements between now and Election Day. If not, have a great week.